Inside the chaos, how Sean Payton is quietly sabotaging the Broncos' offense. It was supposed to be a night that silenced the critics, a night that proved the Denver Broncos had finally found their identity under Sean Payton. Instead, it turned into another baffling chapter. In a season filled with contradictions and missed opportunities, the scoreboard might have read 10-7 in favor of Denver, but anyone who watched that game against the Las Vegas Raiders knows the truth. Something deeper and far more concerning is unfolding within the Broncos organization. Sean Payton was brought to Denver to fix the offense, to restore discipline and structure to a team that had lost its edge. Yet on Thursday night, what unfolded on the field suggested the exact opposite. The Broncos' offense was stagnant, uncreative, and alarmingly out of rhythm for a team built around Payton's supposed offensive genius. What happened was not just disappointing, it was indefensible from the first drive. The tone was off. The play calling felt scattered, directionless, one moment trying to establish tempo through the air, and the next abandoning the run entirely, even as the conditions begged for it. The wind was gusting across the field. Bo Nix was clearly struggling to find his footing as a young quarterback, and yet Payton refused to adapt, refusing to lean on the one thing that could have stabilized the game: the ground attack. 6 running plays in the first half. That was his 6 attempts to test a Raiders defense that has been average at best against the run. Payton had preached all week about the importance of balance, about controlling the tempo and wearing down the opposing front, but when it mattered most, he turned away from everything he claimed to value. The offense sputtered drive after drive, leaving the defense to carry the weight of a game that should have been over by halftime. Then came the moment that defined the night. After a huge defensive takeaway set the Broncos up at the Raiders' 12-yard line, the perfect opportunity to seize control of the game, Payton made one of the most puzzling decisions of the season. Instead of leaning on his backs, instead of calling the kind of power run that could punch through the middle, he dialed up a quarterback power, a play rarely used by Denver, and one that had failed repeatedly throughout the year. With J.K. Dobbins dealing with injuries, the play was doomed from the start. The result: 3 points, nothing more. It was a drive that should have changed the momentum. Instead, it exposed the heart of Denver's problem. Sean Payton does not trust his own system. He preaches balance, but refuses to live by it. He talks about rhythm, but shatters it with every overcomplicated call. Later in the third quarter, with the Broncos finally gaining traction on the ground after 7 runs for 33 yards on a single drive, Payton again found a way to derail progress. 3rd and 1, simple situation, manageable distance, perfect setup for another run. The Raiders' defense was on its heels. The offensive line had begun to impose its will. The entire stadium could feel that Denver was one good call away from breaking the game open, and yet Payton outsmarted himself. He called for a trick play to Cortland Sutton. The Raiders saw it coming instantly. The play was destroyed in the backfield, and what should have been a manageable 53-yard field goal attempt turned into a 58-yarder, which Lutz promptly missed. The crowd groaned. The players looked deflated, and even from the sideline you could see it in Payton's face, the look of a man realizing he had made another mistake. But too proud to admit it. This is the paradox of Sean Payton, the coach who demands precision, yet often operates with chaos. The man who built his reputation on offensive brilliance, now drowning in his own complexity. His post-game comments did little to calm the storm. Payton admitted that he had been looking at the wrong section of his third down play sheet. An almost unbelievable confession for a coach of his caliber. It was an admission not just of confusion, but of disconnection from the flow of the game. The Broncos' offensive line deserves credit. They have been one of the most consistent units in the league, especially in run blocking. They have opened holes, created leverage, and provided the foundation for a running attack that, when allowed to function, can control games. But Payton never lets it breathe. After 2 or 3 unsuccessful attempts, he panics, turns to the passing game, and throws the rhythm completely out of sync. When he finally returns to the run later, often in desperation, it works again, but by then the momentum is gone. Football at its core is a game of rhythm and flow, and right now Denver has neither. Every week the same pattern repeats itself: flashes of potential, followed by stretches of confusion and wasted possessions. It is not a talent issue. The Broncos have playmakers. They have a capable young quarterback and a line built for physical football. The issue is identity, and that responsibility falls squarely on the shoulders of Sean Payton. For all the talk about culture, accountability, and discipline, Payton has yet to apply those principles to his own decision-making. When the offense falters, he blames execution. When the running game disappears, he points to defensive adjustments. When drives stall, he talks about missed opportunities. But the truth is simple: this offense is Broken because the man calling the plays refuses to trust the basics against the Raiders. Bo Nix did not audible out of run calls as he had in previous games. This time the blame cannot be shifted to the rookie quarterback. This was Payton's offense in its purest form, disjointed, overthought, and reactive rather than proactive. The danger is that these flaws will not just hurt the Broncos. In regular season games, they will destroy them when the stakes rise in December and January in playoff football when weather conditions worsen and defenses tighten. Success belongs to teams that can control the ground game and dictate tempo. Right now, Denver is not one of those teams. And as long as Payton continues to wage war with his own philosophy, that will not change. The Broncos might have 8 wins. But make no mistake, this team is not built to survive on last-minute heroics and fourth-quarter miracles. That formula runs out, and when it does, no amount of sideline frustration or post-game explanations will save them. Sean Payton has spent years crafting his image as one of football's great minds, but the reality in Denver tells a different story. Is the story of a coach trapped between pride and practicality, a man who cannot decide whether he wants to outsmart his opponents or simply beat them. The Broncos need the latter, but lately all they are getting is the former until Payton learns to embrace what works, until he commits to the balance he preaches. Denver will remain a team fighting against itself, a team that wins ugly, survives narrowly, and teeters on the edge of collapse, because sometimes the most dangerous opponent is not the one across the field, but the one standing on your own sideline.